And now to developments out of Oklahoma University, where two of the fraternity members caught chanting racial slurs in a YouTube video have been expelled from the university. This morning, the Morning Joe team did a report on the story, and their ensuing coverage has sparked a lot of reaction already. Many have asked for some clarification, and Mika joins us now with more. We also have the host of Politics Nation and president of the National Action Network, Reverend Al Sharpton, with us from Chicago. Mika, let me start with you. Take us through the discussion on your show this morning.
Oh, well, first of all, Ari, two things. The students in the video are responsible for their behavior. And as we said in our show this morning, they did it. And it's beyond appalling. The video is actually disgusting and disturbing to watch. And that's what we said in our show this morning. In no way is anyone else to blame for what they did on that bus. They are responsible. They made that choice. On another point, there may be a good conversation to have out there about rap music, hip-hop, and lyrics and use of the N-word, and whether or not it should be allowed to be used on where, in what form, and what platform. But there's no moral equivalency between any lyrics and what happened on that bus. We said that this morning on our show.
You said that, Mika, and there has been a lot of coverage and reaction from people suggesting that somehow you were trying to draw a link there. So just to be clear, what is your response to that concern?
The only link is the rapper the artist who performed on the university property before was supposed to come back again, canceled his performance, and said he was disgusted by what he saw. He does have lyrics that could be in question in a conversation about the use of the N-word and about violent racist lyrics, and I think that's an important conversation to have. I would like to have that conversation, but he is in no way to blame for what happened on that bus. And maybe that got conflated, but that is not what was said.
And Reverend Al, what about this discussion? You've spoken out for a long time separately about the role of rap music.
Well, I think, first of all, these are two different issues. What we saw on that bus and from the fraternity house's mom, as they call it, is disgusting and racist, and they can't blame that on anyone. There were no rappers on that bus. These were all white students that were saying this. There's no rap lyrics that even come close to what they said in terms of we're not letting the N-word students in our fraternity. So I think these are two separate issues, and we should not have the debate that I and others have engaged. And let's be clear, National Action Network, which I head, NAACP and others have been against N-word and misogyny in music, but that should not be a distraction to this issue that Mika has just talked about. That is absolutely racist. I think the president of the college operated in what he should have and in the best tradition of America, and those students have, in a very nonviolent but direct way. They should be saluted. We've had them on Politics Nation the last two nights, the group of students that surfaced this. I think they ought to be congratulated and supported, and I don't think we should allow people to try in any way distract from what is being dealt with on that campus, because this fraternity has a record in other parts of the country of having some very racist and racially insensitive things said. And I think that our concern in the civil rights community, some among other rappers, about lyrics and concerns Mika and I have talked about, because she talks about her daughter and all. I don't think that they ought to use that as a distraction from the point all of us are making about that ugliness that we saw in that film from that bus in Oklahoma.
Mika, go ahead.
Well, no, my daughter is a Jay-Z fan, and I've had the conversation with her about what's appropriate and what can be said and what can't, and why there's, in some ways, a little bit of a conversation that still needs to be had. And I think, Reverend Al, when we were talking earlier today, it's, in terms of the rapper and how he was brought into this conversation, it's only because he has performed there and he canceled because of this. He has nothing to do with what those kids did on that bus. They are responsible, and there's no moral equivalency. Lyrics have nothing to do with the actions that happened on the bus. Having said that, his lyrics are inflammatory. They use the N-word, the F-bomb. And Reverend Al, what you were saying on the phone to me earlier is that the question for him is perhaps would he denounce the use of them in the future? But that, again, is a separate conversation. It's sort of like the big picture in terms of where we're moving in terms of our society, and also how we view art, and what is art and what is dangerous, or what is art and what perhaps could be disturbing to people. But that's a completely different and fascinating conversation.
Reverend Al,
a conversation,
go ahead.
I might add, Ari, that we've had. I mean, I remember we did 2 days of Oprah debating this. This is an ongoing conversation, but it should not in any way get in the way of what those students are saying on that campus, as Mika just said. And I think it is very important that we understand that they're two different conversations. And it's a conversation that we must continue to have. Maybe this could be a teaching moment in the conversation on lyrics, but let's not confuse this. And let's also be clear, the one that brought the rap into this, rap music, was this fraternity mom, this fraternity house mom, who claims that she, an older woman in our generation, was only repeating rap lyrics. She's the one that brought rap in this, something that I think is something that I certainly have doubts. We'll see where the investigation goes. But clearly, I don't think they should try to scapegoat rap with something that is ugly and diabolical here. And I think that we need to be very clear on that. And I think that's what Mika, and I think Mika said she has reached out talking to some of the students who she respects their position, because we all share racism cannot be excused. Lyrics, we can discuss what is art and not, and we can agree or disagree. I respect this rapper for saying, wait a minute, I am not going to perform on a campus that's identified with that. I may disagree with his lyrics. I agree with his stand.
An important conversation and a time for reflection. Reverend Al Sharpton and Mika Brzezinski, thank you both for spending some time with us today.
Thank you.